Well, guys, we finally made it. Welcome to the Blakeburn mine site and town. This is an old town that, in its heyday, between 1920 to 1940-ish, housed about 400 to 500 people. You know, there was a church, a school, general store, bowling alley. And then when the mine just, unfortunately, as time went on, you know, coal was not needed as much, or just wasn't enough material. You would never think that, because it is a pretty impressive seam. The mine closed, the town moved on. There are some outbuildings around this area, but a lot of it is for just quads. It was pretty tight trail making it up, so I don't know how much more exploring we can do. Cheyenne and Maverick went for a little walk. But there is part of the old Trestle system where they would take the material and down in the area tramway and then into the town of Colmont, where then it was loaded on, I believe it was the KVR, the Kettle Valley Railroad. Trying to find... Go black. That is. Now that's coal, and then that's the host rock, I believe is how you kind of say it. Pretty cool. So we'll take a little walk around. This is definitely a big spot for ATVers and whatnot, and get a closer look. Pretty impressive, that's for sure. Some really nice pieces. Zoom in here. Very brittle, very light. Like, this is the size of my hand, maybe a pound. Very impressive. Like, camera's not going to do justice. Let's just say here, that's easily 30 feet tall. Massive. So we're up a little bit further, and we're following what we're assuming is part of the tram cable. Basically a quad trail, so hopefully we don't come up on anybody, because it would be a tight fit.
See the cable showed it.
Cable there. So we've decided to abandon ship because the mud hole, we kind of tested it with the front wheels, and it was pretty darn deep. So we're just walking. I did just find this. That almost looks like a rear end, but I'm pretty sure it's not. There was some type of outbuilding here. But again, can't tell what it was. And more scrap metal. It's a little bit of a can dump here. So we'll just keep looking. Just found this in this bottle dump here. Norway pine syrup. You know that's not too old, because it looks like it has a screw-on cap. More bits of pottery. That almost looks like it has a little bit of a purple tinge. Camera's probably not going to pick up on that. So a little further up the trail, we are starting to get discouraged. But here is part of the old trestle. Yeah, the cable. So if we keep following this, we should see another section. Massive. You know, 40 feet high. Big cable. That's heavy duty. But look how they had it so you could climb up. That's pretty cool. Just looking at the nails. They don't look like they were like forged by any means, but there's another cable there. But definitely pretty big. You can see the other towers. There's one there, right where my finger is. Where's my finger? Right there. And one in the distance. And then Cheyenne pointed this out. This was one of the tram buckets that would ride on the heavy-duty cable. The bucket was probably somewhat there, and it would swing and dump. Pretty cool. Looks like someone dropped a whole bag of chocolate almonds here.
Taste one.
I would, but...
Maverick, have some almonds.
There, one that's actually up right, so you can get an idea. Definitely pretty cool just to be walking this trail. Really neat. We can still see one in the distance. I'm hoping we're on the same kind of path to get to the one old building that I remember seeing, but this is definitely pretty darn cool. So it's like going for a walk back in time a little bit. And it's pretty impressive. After 70, 80 years, it's still standing.
There were 46 men working underground on the afternoon shift in the number 4 mine on the 13th of August 1930. Without any warning, the mine suffered a double explosion, either from an excess of coal dust or likely methane gas. 45 of the 46 men died that day. The inquiry that followed to the conclusion that a lightning strike from a summer storm hit the rails and a spark crossing a loose connector plate had touched off the explosion.
So Cheyenne and Maverick are going to go down and film. That's a wreck site, and there's obviously quite a bit of history down there because they have plaques throughout the campground. There's a plaque beside that old house, I'm assuming it is. But just to be respectful, we're going to keep Maverick out of here. This is in the Granite Creek Cemetery. As you can see, there are some people that have been buried here in the past 25 years. 1905 to 2000. Richard was 95 years old. (1914 to 1997). There's something about going into old cemeteries. We don't do it to be disrespectful. Just do it to, appreciate the people that were here before. 1860 to 1941, 1888 to 1976. It's nice to see that these people lived as long as they did. I would have thought these ones were maybe older. Just, it's kind of more of the old-fashioned way for burial, I guess. Not really digging into the ground too much. But 1999 is when they died. 2016. The same kind of built up. 1936 to 1993. (1952 to 2003. There was a fence here at one point in time. Usually smaller burials like this mean it's a child. And yeah, Brenda L.A. Morris died April 2nd, 1940, 1946 maybe, 1940, only 4 months. That's sad. In 1938 is when they passed, so this is definitely an older one. Another unnamed. You would never know someone was here. All right. Martins or Nellie Florence. Another unnamed. John, 1869 to 1935. 1937. (1870 to 1933). These two right here are unnamed. This is definitely an older one, that's for sure. This is kind of why we do this, you know, to come and pay our respects, to pay a visit to the people that don't even have a name. Another unnamed, possibly Uriah Bryant. Beautiful, and someone is keeping enough upkeep up here that it's just not all growing over, but I definitely recommend, if you're ever passing one, just stop in, pay your respects, because some of these people haven't had somebody visit them in a really long time.